Customizing your editor to fit your style can make work more enjoyable and productive. So let's dive into Godot. So the vanilla Godot experience will look something like this. And many of you probably know about changing the size of the layout, but you can do much more than change the size of them. If you hit the three buttons in the top corner, you can change their position in the dock position. Let's say I want them over here, so I'm gonna move them there by clicking. Then maybe the inspector and node and history, I wanna move below that, and I can do that. And this already looks pretty nice, but something even nicer that's fairly recent is that you can put the file system in the bottom over here along with the output, and that's the same as before, but instead of changing the dock position, you hit move to bottom, and now it's visible down here. If I now were to make a new scene, so let's just add a mesh instance 3D. I'm gonna give this a donut shape, and you see I have my scenes right here and inspector below. Something I think I like more is actually having the scene and import right next to it, like this. And that way I can just select it, and right next I have the properties of it. In my opinion, this is more productive and efficient, and I think many of you will like it. And now on the file system, it's down here in the bottom, and you can collapse it if you want to by clicking on it. And by hovering, you can see we have a toggle for the file system bottom panel. By hitting Ctrl and space, you can also open and close it. I heard this was a feature from Unreal Engine, so it's nice that it's in Godot now. And you can also change the way the file system looks by hitting on the split mode. You can change the order of things. There's 3 different modes. You can choose whatever you like the most. And that's about the customizability for changing the layout. If you want to save this layout from now, you can go to editor and then editor layout, and you can hit save layout. I'm going to call this layout like, because I like the layout, and I can hit save. And if I ever want to change back to the default layout, I can go to the editor again, editor layout, and select default, and it will change back to the default. For example, I make tutorials, and most people are used to the default layout, so I have to use the default layout for the tutorials. But when I do game development, I can go back into the editor and editor layout and select the layout that I like. You can see that my best layout is actually the same as the one I set as like. Next, we're gonna make something cosmetic, and this doesn't affect the productivity, but it can make Godot look a little bit nicer. And to do that, you want to go to the editor and editor settings, and then under interface you want to find theme, and in here there are several presets that you can select from. Let's try Breezy Dark, Godot 2, that's how Godot used to look back in the day. Would be funny to select the light one to flashbang everyone, but I'm not gonna do that. Then we have Solarized Dark, I think this is a pretty nice one. It's pretty nice, yeah. Then a OLED one, it's fully black so it doesn't get burned in, and much more. In my case, I'm gonna select the custom one, and this allows me to change the colors as I want to. On the base color, I would say it's fairly hard to find a good one, your own, but you can try. It takes a little bit of time for it to update after you change it, so keep that in mind. But an even nicer way I like doing, which isn't that time consuming and looks nice with the rest of your computer, is enabling the follow system theme. So I'm just gonna enable this. And if you have your computer set to dark mode, it will change automatically everything to match that. Then you can also use the system accent color. I'm gonna try that as well. And it will change the blue. I don't actually like that dark blue, so I'm actually gonna disable that. But if you have this enabled, you can't actually reset the color or change it without disabling the toggle, because it will just change back after you change it. So that's something to keep in mind. That's basic theme options. You can enable advanced settings to show a couple more. One I like changing is the icon saturation. I think putting it to the max looks pretty nice. It will give more saturation to all the nodes. Let's see, I'm gonna set it to 0 so we can see the difference. And it will look gray, and if I set it to the max, it will really pop. And maybe you want something more modern with rounded corners. You can select the corner radius and set this to the max, and it will give rounded corners to more things in the editor compared to the default ones. And compared to the 0, it's just sharp corners. I do actually like rounded corners, so that's nice. And some people even make custom themes. You don't have to manually change all of these values yourself. And if you find one of those, you can put them in the custom theme and load them, and it will update all the settings for you. I know one popular one is similar to this, but it makes everything a lot smaller. So maybe the base spacing at 2, and it will look something like this. But as a minimalist, I would just recommend keeping everything at the default and just enabling the follow system theme for a dark mode Godot if you have your system set to that. And this is actually my preferred way of doing it. It can be fun to try out all the options, but if you have to redo it sometime, it's pretty annoying, and I prefer the simple way. I'm a simple man. Thanks for watching, and special thanks to my members. For source code, custom videos or coaching, check out my Ko-Fi, and I'll see you in the next one.